Hello everybody, football is back baby! How arrogant of me to presume that everybody only really cares about Premier League football, but that is where my team Chelsea plays, so this is where I kind of take a little bit more interest, and I suspect probably when it comes to football shirts that you do have your eyes on them also. Now, I would be very surprised if you haven't seen at the very least all of these shirts at some point, but I thought I'd just lay them all out for you right now, and I'll give you my own thoughts and opinions on them, and also you can voice your own. Also, bear in mind that these are just literally thoughts and opinions. It's just all for a bit of fun. There are no right and wrong answers, so if I think your shirt looks rubbish but it actually is great in your eyes, then that's perfectly fine. I'm going to try and put as many biases as I can to the side, but it is kind of funny if I do sort of lay them in there a little bit. Now, these are only just going to be the home shirts, primarily because we haven't seen most of the away and third shirts yet be officially announced. And I generally do like away and third shirts more, because usually that means that the clubs have a little bit more sort of free will when it comes to sort of designing the crazy colours, the crazy designs, where home shirts are pretty much more simple and standard, just being sort of no going away from their normal colours, which is fine. But don't expect crazy high scores. I'd say anything above 5 is good. They're quite strict. Anything above 7 or 8 is really, really good. So we'll start through alphabetically, and of course that usually means Arsenal are on top. So what I've done is I've taken also the current price of these shirts that are selling on their official websites, not anywhere else. And Arsenal are selling their home shirt. I'm only going to be doing the stadium versions as well, because not every team has a pro player version. So we'll just try and keep it as fair as we can. £70 is what Arsenal are expecting for their home shirt this year. And what I've gone for on this one is it's just a rather nice and simple design, to be honest. I quite like the little collar design that's running around there, nice little zigzag. And the colours are just really nice. I kind of prefer Arsenal in a sort of a lighter red than necessarily a darker red. And I like the fact that the red sort of runs under sort of the armpit there a little bit, and the white runs down nicely. And the fact that the Adidas stripe sort of molds into it. I've given this one actually an 8. I think this is just a really nice, simple shirt. And to be honest, Arsenal have done rather well this year on all fronts for those shirts there. So let's just skip into the next one. Of course, we have Aston Villa. Now, they are selling this home shirt for £65. And you've got these lovely embossed chevrons that run down the front, which are quite nice. You've got a half and half trim that runs up sort of the bottom side bits, but it only goes halfway up, which I'm not sure I've seen that before. Not really sure how I feel about that. I do like the collar though. It's got this like slim collar. It's really cool. Of course, now they're with Castor, so they sort of jumped in with, I think, was it Newcastle and Wolves first, and then now they're sort of spread all around Europe. This one I've given a rating of 6. I think it's just pretty simple, straightforward. It's not amazing, but it's not bad at all. So I think they should be pretty pleased with that one. Now we have Bournemouth. They're selling their home shirt for £55, so the price is dropping there. It has a very, very loud design, this one. It has one of my favourite collar styles, where it crosses over V-neck, but it's kind of playing the red against the red. So you've got this balance of craziness and simplicity, which for me, I'm not a huge fan of this design. I must admit, it's kind of weird. It's difficult to sort of... Sometimes you like the craziness, sometimes you don't. This one, it's just not doing it for me. The cuffs also being rather large black sort of styles there. Again, I just think it just doesn't work. It's very Umbro, but just a bit too much. So I'm going to give this a rating of 4. It's not terrible, but I think if they could just sort of tone something down with one less stripe or something, maybe, but not for me, this one. So we've got Brentford, and they're selling it for £49, which again is dropping further down in price. So they get bonus points for carrying it over. So of course this was used last season as well. So I think that's quite good. It saves the fans money, even though they're already saving money because it's one of the cheapest ones. And also it means that there's less waste. So they're not using up, and wasting sort of materials for shirts that don't sell. So this one has got a lovely sort of interesting white trim on the collar, which is a nice little approach there, because it just otherwise would be a simple round neck, which is a little bit boring. But the rest of the shirt is rather simple. It is just a red and white striped shirt there. And it's sometimes when you're in a league where you've got other teams that have that colour set, you want to differentiate yourself a little bit more. So this one, I've given it a rating of 5. It's straight down the middle. It's not good or terrible. It's not amazing or just okay. It's just right there in the middle. Next we have Brighton. So they sell theirs for £55, and from what I could tell when it was released, it was kind of getting a little bit of hate from the Brighton fans. I'm not quite sure why that is the case. Maybe you can explain that is. Because I think it just looks really sleek. It's sort of, everything sits nicely. You've got the crests and the logos and the sponsors sitting nicely in that white little body area. You've got these yellow trims around the collars and the cuffs and the Nike tick there. And this sort of yellow pinstripe that runs down the front. I think it's just really, really nice. It's just a good design. I'm going to give this a rating of 7. I don't know why they're upset. I need to know why. Okay then, so we have Chelsea. So they're selling their shirts for £74.95, which is the highest so far, but it isn't going to be the highest, which is good because I don't want to be that team that's selling their shirts for the most. So, this has that Nike template. It's prominent on some other teams in the Premier League, which you'll get to see them shortly. So it has an interesting collar. That's the only thing that stands out with this shirt and this particular template design. It's not just Chelsea that are sort of falling foul of that. So it has this, I think it's a Chelsea line with this teal aqua colour and then the white collar. It's okay. It's okay. When I first saw it, I thought, not really sure what you're trying to do there. I've seen it in person. Again, it looks okay. It's a very plain shirt, and to be honest, a lot of Chelsea shirts that I have, the home shirts, are relatively plain, and they're no problems at all. I think when it comes to the actual rating, though, trying to put aside my biases, I'm just going to give it 5. Straight down the middle. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And in my eyes, as a Chelsea fan, if I say 5, it's probably worth 2 more, so it's probably a 7 just because of my biases. I think 5's fair. It's okay, isn't it? Crystal Palace, we saw that in the Macron video that I did last week. This one is selling for £55. It has a great design, as mentioned. It's following the Hajduk split away shirt from the season prior to that one. I love the cuffs on this one, and I love the trims, a little sort of different sort of colour scheme that goes on there. That's kind of it, really. I don't need to say anything else. I know there's a lot of people online who are liking this and the rest of their shirts. I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's really, really good. It'd be unfair for me, like I said, to like the previous season's version and then not like this one. So, it is what it is. And we have Everton. So they're selling their shirt for £60. This one, I really hate the sponsor. Like, for most times, I just don't really care, not too bothered. But this one, I don't like it. It just takes up too much. And I'm not a huge fan of seeing .com on a sponsor. If it just said steak, fair enough, I suppose, but steak.com, it's just too much. So apparently it's inspired by Rupert's Tower. It's from the crest, and it has that sort of design running down the front. It's kind of a little bit subtle, embossed in the material, which is nice. That is quite nice. But there's sort of a lack of cuff trims, possibly. The fact that it's just blue, is that a thing? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And then you've got a relatively boring collar. You've got white and this little thin blue thing there. So if they had that around the cuffs as well, maybe it would sort of marry up a little bit more. I don't know. For design, I'm going to give this one a 4. I think it's just maybe better in person when you can really see that detailing of that crest, but looking at this image, a little bit difficult to tell. Now we have Fulham. They're selling their home shirt for £70. Like, what? I know you're London, but £70 for a team that's just come up? That seems a bit overpriced. Even, I think £60 is probably a lot, but £70 is too much. But I will say that it has great trims. So the ones on the collar and the ones on the cuffs, the red, looks really good. Some of the best trims in the Premier League for sure. Maybe you would put some on the hem, possibly towards the bottom, to really sort of make it a full package. I don't know. And then it's just got a nice and clean design. Like, sometimes white is boring and sometimes it just works. I think this one kind of works. I'm going to give this a rating of 7. I think it's just a nice shirt. Don't necessarily think it's worth £70, but it's it's okay. So we have Leeds United, and price at the time of doing this video, I don't know, because it's not actually ready to buy. They've just released images of it, but you still can't buy it yet, even though the season is starting next weekend, which is interesting. I think they're not the only team that's had this problem, but at least you can sort of buy the shirts from the other clubs. So who knows what the price is going to be. Probably going to be £60, should we say? That's a good guess, isn't it? We'll see how that goes. So this one has club initials running sort of diagonally across the shirt. Again, a little bit difficult to tell, sort of embossed into the material there. That's rather nice. When it comes to the trims, I kind of prefer their bolder, darker yellow than necessarily this sort of more creamier yellow, more lightning yellow that's on this one here. It's sometimes difficult to tell the true representation from image, but I just like the darker yellow that they've had. This one, I'm just going to give a rating of 6. It's fine, like, it's okay, but I think if it was just a little bit different in the yellow, probably elevate that through to 7 or 8. Now we have Leicester City. So this one, they're selling their shirts for £63, and I like the gold crest and the Adidas logo, which I think is the first time that they've had that, certainly through Adidas. And it's always nice to see a bit of gold in a shirt. Usually it follows when they've done something, achieving something, but that's fair enough. So this has an interesting cuff styling, one of my favourite styles. It's sort of the opposite of what Arsenal had. So you've got the white running around the top, and the underside is now blue, and then you have sort of this interesting contemporary collar. So it's sort of like has a regular collar to halfway, and then it has the V-neck to the next bit. Quite like that. It's a really, really cool sort of approach. So rating, I'm going to give this one 7 also. It's just a really, really nice shirt. Now we have Liverpool. It feels like this shirt was released many, many years ago. It's been out forever. They sell their shirts for £69.95. So that's not too bad probably for a big team. It has You'll Never Walk Alone, the initials, on the sleeves, which I think is a smart little thing. I like that. That's a good little detailing. But other than that, there's nothing else going on. It is that Nike template similar to the Chelsea one, and this one doesn't even have the collar, which to be honest is not a bad thing because I kind of do like this Nike collar styling, and I have seen it in person, and it's fine. Like, it is better in the player version, but that's not necessarily a good thing because that means that they're trying to encourage people to spend more money than they necessarily need to do. So with regards to the rating, I'm going to give it 5 again. It's okay. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. We'll just leave it at that. Now we have Manchester City. So they are selling their shirts for £70. And you know what? It has centralized logos, which sometimes it works, sometimes it really doesn't work. I just like to see what it would be like if they were just a little bit away. I think it probably would be better for me, in my opinion, anyway. It has, of course, this sort of this collar and these cuff trims running around. And when I first saw it, I thought, not really sure about that. I'm not sure this collar should be on a Manchester City home shirt. And I saw it in person, and I thought, it's not as offensive as I thought it might be, so I'm still not sure about that one in particular. I suppose they're trying to try something new, which I suppose you've got to give them some points for. So I'm going to give this one a rating of 6. It could be better, but it certainly could be worse. Now to their sort of team city rivals, it's of course Manchester United, and they're selling their shirts for £70 also. I suppose that makes sense. You'd expect that from sort of a club like Manchester United. Quite clearly, they've gone for a retro styling on this one. Everything from the collar, sort of the shield around the crest, which I must admit, I'm not a huge fan. I don't like it from the 90s and previously. I don't like when they're bringing it back now. Wouldn't really like that on a Chelsea shirt, I must say. The collar design is probably good, I think. I think I saw someone walking around the other day with it wearing it, and I was... Is it okay? Is it good? I don't know. Would it be better without it? Reminds me of the Arsenal one. I suppose it's probably okay. I think this one ultimately will determine how the club does. If the club performs really well this season, this one will go down quite well because I think it's really nice. But if the team performs poorly again, then it'll just be a shirt that people will forget and not want to remember because of that. So we're going to give this one a rating of 6. Again, it's slightly better than average, but it depends on how they go. If they do really well, you can see that elevated to an 8. And we have Newcastle United. They sell their shirts for £65. So it's a little bit difficult. This one, the biases. Black and white home shirts don't do all that for me, like Juventus. Their home shirts have just never really interested me greatly, unless it's just like a half and half sort of thing, or just maybe a small amount of vertical stripes when you have too many. I just don't really care for that. And also the neck is a little bit boring, that round neck with just the black in there. Not for me. And then the sponsor on this one stands out too much. It's just like in your face, and it's like, yes, I'm a betting sponsor. So I'm going to give this a rating of 4. I think last season's home shirt was better, but their away and third shirts are a little bit better than this. So, you can't have everything. Now we have Nottingham Forest. So they're selling their shirts for £59.50. So they do have a sponsor incoming. So to make it fair, because otherwise it's a pretty plain shirt, we'll just give them an appropriate sponsor right now. Good. And you know what? I think at first thoughts, I thought it was literally just a plain shirt. I thought, you just come back to the Premier League and you're going to be offering this. That's a bit rubbish, especially for Macron, who are usually really good at this sort of thing. But no, if you look on the sleeves, there's actually a little bit of detailing which has the Trent Bridge ironwork sort of pattern inspiration along that. That does look really, really nice, and I believe it runs down the side also, if I can remember correctly. So I think once this one has a sponsor on it, then it will sort of elevate it a little bit more. So the only thing I can really do is give it a 5, just sort of stick it in the middle. Who knows which way it will go. Now we have Southampton, and they're selling their shirts for £55. I love the sort of bold and black colour. It's almost like it's going around with like a sort of like a thicker black marker pen. I like the fact that the stripes are sort of prevalent. Even the sponsor, which I said on previously on Newcastle shirt, it stood out too much. This one stands out just as much, and it is another sort of gambling sort of cryptocurrency weird thing going on, but this one, it's okay. It's not too bad. Yes, it does have centralized logos, but on occasion, like this one, I think it kind of works. I don't think it would work if you sort of put it in the side there, especially when you've got this sort of vibrant red, which is really, really nice. Again, it could just be the image. And it also has these St. Mary's inspired graphics running down just this side bit here, which is like the stanchions on. The only thing I would say is that possibly there are some cuffs missing, maybe the detailing that you got around the neck onto the cuffs. And the fact that the white bit here is just white and the stanchions graphics don't approach it, I don't know if that's a thing. But anyway, I'm gonna give it a rating of 7. I think it's really, really nice shirt, that one. Now we have Spurs. So this is their home shirt, and of course they are selling it for £75, 5 pence more than Chelsea. They are the most expensive shirt in the whole of the league. They're at top of the table for the first time they will ever be there. Well done, Spurs, for that. It's that Nike template again, the same one as Chelsea and Liverpool. This one is, I suppose they've done a little bit more than the other ones, because not only do they have a collar, they also have some trims on this one. Also, they've gone for this sort of vibrant yellow, which sort of does add to it, adds a little bit to the shirt. But other than that, it kind of doesn't differentiate itself too much from other Spurs home shirts, which I suppose that's probably a lot of teams that it does the same thing for. But it's still rather simple. I'm going to give this one 5 again. I just think you have to for this Nike template. I'm sure there are some versions of it out there that are a little bit better, and there are probably certainly ones that are a little bit worse. But I think 5 is fair. Now we have West Ham. So they're selling their shirts for £65. This has rather thick collar and cuff trims. Certainly the cuff trims there, which I think maybe is a little bit too much. Though I do like the graphic that's on the shoulders. Very, very Umbro styling there. This colour set is never my favourite anyway. I've just any team that wears this, so it's a little bit difficult for me to really, really appreciate it. But I'm going to give it a 5 because I think it's not terrible. I just don't think it's great. It's not a shirt that I'd be too happy about wearing. And then finally, we have Wolves. And this one is retailing for £55. And again, it's a rather simple shirt, but it does have some cool features. So you've got the cuff trim, which I mentioned previously. Then it has the sort of black bits on the bottom there, which I think the only club that has that on the home shirts, where they've started doing some stuff at the bottom, which is a nice little approach. I like the collar, sort of like half and half. You've got the sort of a yellowy orangey colour, and then it leads to the black there. And then you've got the sponsor, which fits nicely, and you've got these black bits running across the shoulders there. I'm just going to give it a 7. I think it's a nice shirt. I think Wolves should be pretty pleased with that. Castor, it's just nice and clean, that one. But that is it. Those are all of the teams that are going to be featuring in the Premier League for the upcoming season. This is their home shirts. I will start working on the away shirts as soon as they're released, or maybe the third shirts, whichever gets a full batch released first. And yeah, I think it's okay. There's not one shirt there that was stood out to be amazing. No offense to anybody who supports other teams. I mean, I've given Chelsea a 5. It's just to try as fair as I possibly can. But there's nothing terrible either. So I think that's a good thing. Let me know which of these shirts you like. If you're a collector and you don't necessarily care about any of those teams, any of those that you'd like to add to your collection, though, just based on the design. And if you are a supporter of one of these clubs, let me know how you think about your club's team, and maybe how about you feel about some of the other ones. But that is it. I'm so happy that the Premier League is back. I believe Arsenal against Crystal Palace is that the match tonight, and Chelsea's first game is tomorrow against Everton, which I am honestly not looking forward to. But who knows what could happen? The first game of the season is where all hopes are high, only to have them crash back down after one game, and you go, okay, next season it is. Thank you as always for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.